Hello, everybody. It's Fair Week in Youngstown, Ohio. I feel like everyone's at the fair, and Youngstown has been a little like Boardman. Like driving around, I'm showing houses, way less traffic.
Yes,
love that.
Love it.
Love that. But welcome everybody to Youngstown's Talk Channel. Joe and I are going to get into it. No Luke today. It's just us, but you can call in 330-595-1600. We're live downtown Youngstown right now. The objective of Youngstown's Talk Channel is to fill the void that is news talk radio going bye-bye in Youngstown. And we're going to try and keep you entertained. You can turn us on at 8 a.m. when you come in to work and turn us off at 5 p.m. Right now, we just got our show, but we're working on new people. If you know anyone who's interested in being a host throughout the day, give us a call or message us on Facebook. Our information's in the bottom right corner of the screen below me. But yeah, let's get after it here. So 2 big topics I want to cover today. The first one's going to be really tough to talk about without Facebook and just YouTube and all these different places shutting us down. And that is pew pew laws, as well as the incident that happened at the school with the guy.
A lot of code language going on
with the person. So we're gonna have to be very careful that Facebook doesn't cut us out. If you want to call in and you do call in, just please try. I know it's hard. I'm gonna really struggle with it, but please try and kind of mask what you're saying so that we don't get our stream pulled down, because they will. It's crazy. Censorship is insane. Use the right pronouns. Yeah. They, them, I guess. But let's get after it here. So we'll start with the heavy stuff. We'll end with fair food and fun stuff. That way we can go into the holiday weekend being happy. But Joe,
yeah,
what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing?
So I think we're going to disagree on this one.
Good.
So, how do you feel? What do you think about the whole situation, Joe? How do you feel about the guy, the person that did the pew-pewing in the school?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of our civilization. We're very evil. We're bad people.
Yeah.
There's no moral compass, and so I think this is the beginning of bad behavior.
I don't even think it's the beginning. I think it's been going on for a while.
Well, it's ascension. It's going to get way worse.
You think it's going to get worse?
Oh yeah.
Why is it going to get worse?
What's going to stop it? Now you have people modeling it. You have anger. You have polarization. You have hatred for other people. You have justifications for that hatred. Like,
not enough people are talking about how there's so much divide and so much hatred towards the other side, and just this belief that the people on the other team are the bad guys. They're awful people because they don't believe in my ideology exactly. And man, I feel like the left does it more, and it doesn't make any sense. The left does it more so than the right. And I feel like the hardcore right has more of like, they're more religious, but the left is more ideology driven, and these people don't agree with our big couple ideas, and they're just awful people because of it.
Yeah.
And I think when you start talking like that, I'm not surprised that the situation with what was written, I don't even know if that's real or not, or if it's AI, but like you see the pictures of the clip and it has Trump did this or whatever. Trump made me do this or whatever.
I read the first 100 pages of the manifesto.
Oh, did you really?
Did.
What'd the manifesto say?
It was the rambling thoughts of a disturbed person, for sure.
Right.
It was all over the place. It was a journal, a diary of how they were feeling, how they were processing things. And it felt like I was reading a 14-year-old emo kid's hatred for the world, listening to, Pink Floyd in the background.
Goodness gracious.
It was not great. But do you remember when Joe Biden, it was shortly after some kind of incident, he said, we have to lower the temperature of our rhetoric. Right, we're using inflammatory language, and that lasted for 30 seconds.
That was right. That was right after the earshot of Trump.
You're right.
Right after the earshot, because they realized for a second that the rhetoric and what they were saying, and he's the devil and this and that, and just all these awful things. It's not a stretch for somebody to take that type of language and say, "I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll be the one who takes out the devil." So
I mean, that's a reasonable thing. If you paint somebody as a freaking Nazi
Yeah.
and what you know about Nazism,
Yeah.
and if he is really that, like, it would be a noble gesture.
Right. It was the US's responsibility to end the Nazis, and now just playing on that again. But I don't think it's the left or the right. I think it's both of them. It's not just one side. That the other people are the enemy, and you keep that rhetoric going, man, and it leads into my next point. That rhetoric influences the mentally unhealthy.
Yep. Sure does.
And I think that's the biggest issue. I think the mentally unhealthy get this cocktail of drugs in their system. And I know RFK brought it up. I know the left hates RFK because of him hating pharmaceutical companies. When did liberals like obsess and take the side of big pharma? Like, they just love big pharma now. I don't understand it. The older I get, the more like old school liberal I feel. But like, I feel like in the 90s and 2000s, like, they were against big business, and now it's like, no, the macaroni virus made us all love shots and take the side of pharma. It's just crazy.
It's a religion. They bow to it for sure.
But RFK basically said, we need to check and see what cocktail of drugs this guy was on, as well as past shooters, and see if that's influencing the decisions of these mentally unstable people. And I know the right is trying to make the argument that it's trans folks and it's people who it's a gender thing. It's truly not. I truly don't think it is. I don't think it matters how the person presents themselves. I think they're not trans people, but all the people who are doing these shootings are mentally unstable. And they came up with statistics. They're coming up with these fake statistics about how the last 10 shooters were trans or gender fluid or whatever. Like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that is the case, because there were plenty of friggin' it's mostly middle-aged white people. But I don't think it has to do with race or how they present themselves. It has everything to do with they're mentally unhealthy and they're medicated.
That should be the priority.
They're mentally unhealthy and they're medicated, and that cocktail of drugs that they're taking is making them not make the right decision.
100%.
And just not be
Why would you think I wouldn't agree with you?
Not be level-headed. I don't know. So we'll keep going.
Okay,
And then we'll see.
Maybe we'll get into the territory
when you disagree with me.
Okay.
Nobody's taking the side of big pharmaceutical, just not into swimming in the swamp water. Joseph says. See, Joseph, no, I think you did. And I think now in society, there's a lot of people that dig their feet in and refuse to admit that when they're wrong, and refuse to admit that they took a side when you did. I mean, so much of the left. I remember being at friends' houses and girls at the party talking about how they shouldn't be dating or talking to guys who didn't get the shot. And like, just the rhetoric of these people, like, these are awful people. They're swamp rats. They're spreading COVID. They're doing all these terrible things. And Big Pharma made $52 billion off of it. And they totally warped your mind. They totally convinced you that anybody who didn't take it was the bad guy. And then they kept stepping it back. And we've talked about this a million times. They kept stepping it back and refused to even acknowledge that they messed up. Because if all the good guys got the vax, why do they care? Why do they care if people like me didn't get it? Like, you're gonna be saved, right? It's gonna be fine. It's not gonna spread. You're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get sick. But all of that was wrong. Everything that they fed you was wrong. Didn't stop the spread. It didn't. It minimally reduced your chance of dying. That's what it ultimately boiled down to. And I don't even know if that's true.
But so if they okay, so let's just say after they learned enough about it, they said, "Oh, this thing is really dangerous for people who have comorbidities."
Yeah, I think it's average. I've looked at it 2.9 to 4.5 comorbidities. So those were the people who were dying.
Okay, so statistically, you're like, let's give those people protections, and everybody else, it's up to your judgment.
Yeah, you can do what you want. But we didn't have those statistics, and people were afraid. People were very afraid of what it was, and we have to learn the lesson of when you become afraid, when something like that comes up, you can't just give your rights away, and you can't just force people to do things because it turns dangerous quickly.
100%.
Quickly. So Reagan kicked the mentally ill to the street and then put guns in their hands. What could go wrong? So that's interesting.
Historically, why did the mental institutions get shut down? Do you remember? Because this was late 80s, early 90s.
I mean, dude, they were frying people's brains. They were experimentation. They were doing awful stuff to those. It was basically a prison. So, like one of the Kennedys got a lobotomy. Like they fried her or cut into her head, and because she was hooking up with people too much, and the Kennedys didn't like that.
Just doing some on the fly research as to what his connection was.
And it's the same thing as prisons. Like you're making money. These asylums, they're making money off of mentally unhealthy people. That's kind of screwed up. But so then we'll go back. We'll go back to the pew situation.
Okay.
So, what would you change, Joe? Would you change gun laws? And this is where I'm going to lean more left.
No.
So my argument would be, and I'm on a little bit of both sides. I'm always in the middle. So I don't think you can't take guns away from people. No. Like you cannot. No, I think our founding fathers wanted the people to be armed in case of a tyrannical. The Second Amendment is to protect the First Amendment.
Exactly.
So it's important. But with that being said, I drove here. I had to get a license to drive here.
Yes.
Because I could kill people if I don't know how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I want to drive a big rig, I have to get a CDL. I have to get licensing for a CDL. There's got to be a way to allow the gun lovers that are responsible, that are good people, to get their guns while still, like, it needs to be some kind of licensing program. If you want to get a normal, the bare minimum gun, you have one license. You want to step it up, get a different one. You want to step it up. Like I'm all the way up to fully automatic bazookas, whatever. But I think you need licensing. Well, and then the other question too is like, why is a mentally unstable person like the one who did the pew-pewing at the school, why is that person able to get one? You know?
So like if I go on the retail side and I buy a gun,
Mm-hmm.
you do an FBI background check to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you don't have like a criminal record that
Yeah.
would warrant not selling you the gun, right? You got to wait 7 days so you're not like pissed off, go to a gun shop and
Right.
do something stupid. And so, but I can go on like Marketplace and I can buy a rifle, right, and buy it from an owner, give them money, and like
Right.
nobody knows that I now have that
Right.
gun. So if I were to make a change, I would say, like, if I'm the seller and that gun is ever used in a crime, I would want it out of my freaking name, right? So
Yeah.
if when guns originate, it
doesn't come back to you.
Exactly.
The paper
yeah.
trail.
So I would force it so that I would be able to publish that I no longer have this thing and somebody else does.
Right.
So maybe better tracking of, the serialized guns and
Right.
who has, ownership of those things. I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So Joseph says it's more important to have guns than to have our citizens safe. See, Joseph, I think if you take away everyone's guns, I think the citizens are ultimately more unsafe. to our country becoming something that it's not. And our founding fathers, like, they made this country the way they did because they were coming from such an awful situation where they felt like they had no power as people. So I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's built into our system for a reason. And I'm not saying that there are things we can't change anything. I definitely think we have to change things to try and stop the people who shouldn't have them from having them. Like, why I just don't get. There's got to be a way to stop the mentally unstable from getting the I guess we've said it so many times.
Can you? Okay, so let's just say
I don't know how you do it.
You can identify medically that somebody is unstable, and you can put them in that category so they can get actual help.
Right.
But the spirit is keep them away from dangerous objects that can affect other people.
Yeah.
Like, do you want an unstable person voting? Right, because what they do, their actions can hurt other people if they vote for things that affect other people. Driving a car, do you want an unstable person to drive a car? There's a ton of ways that you can affect other people by letting those people, be in society.
No, I guess that's up to the people's determination. I mean, when they were in asylums, they weren't able to do any of that stuff. They were basically in prison.
Yeah. Right.
So do you want to lock all the people back up again and give them all lobotomies? Like, I don't know.
See, I don't trust any of those institutions not to become that again. Even if we did it in a good spirit, where it's more medical and it's more rehabilitation and whatever, that'd be one thing.
Right.
But it's just going to become warehousing people for not being able to fix them, and then you deprive them of their liberty.
Right. Those who give up liberty for safety deserve neither. Oh man, what was I going to say? And I truly don't think the right wing folks are in the right here by trying to say that it's all transgender people and that's the mental illness. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's. And the left will say, oh, it's all middle-aged white people. I truly believe it is a couple different things. I think I would love to see the statistics of the income level of these people that are doing these shootings, because I think I would bet they're all medically on a cocktail of drugs, and you have to be able to afford that. Number one. And then number two would be guns are expensive. Ammunition's expensive. Very expensive. So like, what kind of weapon did this dude have? So I would bet it's not so much a race thing, it's a income thing. It's you're within a certain, you make enough money that you can afford to be medicated in this way and not thinking correctly, and then also be able to afford this weapon, the weapons. It's because it's not cheap.
Yeah, but that's just the expression of their violence is mass shootings, versus other races just might have different ways of expressing themselves violently. So I think the underlying thing is you've got mentally ill people that are angry and mad, and rhetoric keeps them on edge and wanting to act violent.
Yeah. On top of that, that's the other thing is then you have both sides saying the opposite. The other people, the people on the other team are the worst of the worst, and they're the devil, or they don't know what they're talking about, and they're a threat. And it's only a matter of time before mentally unstable take that, have the weapons to do it, and write a manifesto and say, I'm going to go take them all out.
That's their moment.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude really looked up to previous mass shooters. They were idols.
Oh, really?
They were citing them, and there are a couple of the examples where this guy and he did this, and this is the part that he did wrong, and how I'm going to be different. So he wanted to be cast as one of his the Hall of Fame of those people. And it's sad because he's being mentored by other psychopaths. Right.
And then we put him, we talk about them. The news talks about them. The news promotes them almost. Oh, man.
Yeah, because that's another right. Like if they're looking at glory from this, do you then deprive the First Amendment right and ban talking about these people so that doesn't encourage other people to be one of them?
Right.
Hide information from it. I mean,
right. So Todd says mentally unstable is too wide of a spectrum. Todd says anxiety, depression is considered a mental disorders. So would you be opposed, Todd? Would you be opposed to if they do research on all these past shooters, right? And they're like, hey, all these shooters were on a cocktail of these 3 drugs. And they're like, all of them, every single one of them. They were all depressed. They were all anxiety ridden, and they were on these drugs. Would you then say, okay, people on these 3 drugs cannot have firearms? Or would you stop those people from getting drugs? Or those people on those 3 drugs, because it's making them shooters are all on those things, or it's a high percentage, they're not allowed to get weapons, or they have to talk to somebody, or they have to do something to try and stop it. Is that what you would want?
It comes down to the who, though. Who would you trust to not abuse the power of depriving someone of something like, Second Amendment
right
out? And same thing, like if it's a government agency. So for instance, like if you go get a licensure for a boat, right? There's an agency that makes sure that you're skilled enough to be able to do it. They give you permits and regulate you. Yeah. And then they have people that patrol the waters to make sure that you're not doing anything. Now, I trust that they're not trying to they want safety. They're not targeting a single group and making sure that, we don't like speedboats, so we're going to make sure speedboats don't happen.
Why can't we and that's what I don't understand. Why can't, I don't trust the government to do anything right, but why can't we have a system that's like that instead of just, hey, come get your gun on Facebook Marketplace and go crazy? Like it should be a licensed program.
For sure.
It should
by somebody that doesn't have an agenda.
Yeah, of course. And the right, the libertarians almost, like I'm pretty much, keep the government out of everything if you can. But the far right is like, shall not be infringed. You can't take guns away from anybody. And it's like, I don't think our founding fathers anticipated the power of what weapons would become. They were using muskets, man. I don't think
but they didn't care. Their opposition was government keeping them at bay and scared of the people. So you can make the argument that whatever keeps the government at bay. So do you think in that same time period, the enemy got stronger weapons too?
Yeah, but I don't think, I think it would be very interesting to sit them all down and be like, hey, in the future, you're going to be able to basically have a laser beam, and you're going to be able to, in one foul swoop, take out 50 people. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to blow up a building with the press of a button. Should the people have that?
And they would say, does the government have lasers that take out 50 people?
I see you can't. Okay. And then I think if that's the case, and they said if the government has that stuff, man, that is an interesting question. But I think you still need to have licensing in place. You have to put roadblocks up, make it harder so that the mentally unstable can't just go.
It would be acceptable to me if you put regulations on.
Yeah.
But you put any act of misbehavior with the power and authority to immediately negate those regulations. So it's almost like if one person gets deprived of their gun rights because some political dude tried to do something, it's no longer your deal. Got to write it that way.
Right. Here, can we
scroll up?
Am I here? Yeah. Oh, is that me or is that BJ? Cordeal says it's an evil disease that has been established through the years of medication. Not all, but huge majority. It would never be physically possible to take people's pupils. Way too many out there and way too hard to trace. Bad people will still get their hands on them. And if guns were never invented, evil people will still find a way to kill. 100%.
Yeah, look at Europe right now.
100%. But it still doesn't mean that statistically, if you licensed it, I still want everybody who's really into guns that is good people. And there are a lot of those, like historical guys, guys who just have a collection. Like it's for some people, it's literally just Pokemon trading cards. They don't even shoot them. They just collect them.
Mm-hmm.
So in case bad things were to happen. But I want those types of people that would never do anything, that are very strict with the rules of gun ownership. Like those are the people you want to have guns. So there's got to be a way that those people can, even if it's barriers, they'll still do it to get the guns. I think it would cut down on violence for sure.
Well, all right, give me your steps of logic here. So let's just say you were misspending your money. You were making terrible bad decisions with your money. Yeah. And I think you make way too much money. And I don't think you should make as much money as you do. So what I'm going to do is all your money is going to be sent to me, and I'll help you make better decisions, right? Yeah. But you know that I don't want you to have the money in the first place. Would you trust me that all I'm going to do is help you make better decisions and help solve a problem for it? Or do you think now that I have all the control of your money, that you're going to take some steps to make sure that I don't have as much as I did before?
No, I get your point, and I get the government is going to try and, like you said, the party has to be independent. You know, like what if they looked at it like licensing for cars and trucks and stuff, and they were like, no, we're not, like, there's this many people die in car accidents per day, and we need to stop people from getting licenses and make it way harder so that people, like, I get that. It's the same type of reason.
You have to trust those people, and those people are not trustworthy with that deal, because they've overtly said that they do not want you to own a pickup truck, and so like depriving pickup truck drivers is their priority.
Right. Todd says no, it's too broad. Joseph says, to hell with the Second Amendment. I'd rather have our children safe. Common sense. You are the government. Armed military in the streets is already here. So, Joseph, I don't think you understand what you're saying that when you say that. To hell with the Second Amendment. I'd rather have our children safe. That is, the Second Amendment was put there to protect the First Amendment. That's why it's number 2. That's why it's not 10. It's number 2, because the founding fathers wanted us to be able to say whatever we want about the government. And if we don't have the Second Amendment, they knew that the government would walk all over us. And if they don't feel like that, if they don't know the people are armed and can stand up and defend themselves at any point, then they would take advantage of us. So
total tyranny. That was their number one fear.
Yeah, that's what they were afraid of. That's why it's number 2 and it's not number 10. So you want to change the absolute foundation of our country. I don't think you can do that. And I think you're better off if you feel like that, you're better off traveling. Go to Japan. Live in Japan, where they don't have guns. I know that's the big thing right now that kids my age like to do, is travel to Japan because they have it all figured out over there. And they tell everybody, and they don't have guns, but yeah, your kids aren't allowed to go to school if they have blonde hair, because they don't fit in. And I think one of their age-old sayings over there is that the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. So they want everybody to conform. And that's not the American way. Conformity is not the American way. Stand out.
Yeah,
be unique and you'll succeed.
If there was a country that modeled gun confiscation and heavy firearm regulations and still maintain the freedoms that push back against tyranny, I would entertain it for sure. But there isn't anybody who does this. It goes the opposite direction.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, is you have these conversations, like, it's a tough one. This is a tough one. This is a very, very tough conversation. And it's very easy to slip and let the people at the top and let the news and let these people say everybody who doesn't agree with you on this topic is a bad person. And that's not the case. Everybody wants kids to be safe. Every single person. If there's one thing in America we love, it's our kids and taking care of our kids, and you don't mess with our kids or we'll come for you. So we all agree on that. And it's just this, it doesn't mean the other side's bad. They just have a different view on it, you know? Armed military in the streets is already here. Todd says, I think behavioral health medical professionals treating patients should have a system to escalate their findings. But HIPAA.
Well, there's exceptions even with like attorney-client privilege. If you find out information that is criminal, they can break the, their client privilege and get it to authorities. So you can do the same thing with medical findings. If someone's a danger, you can escalate it up. So.
Right. And that's the thing. You don't have mentally healthy people doing these shootings. So ever. I mean, never once has there been a mentally healthy person that was like, oh, yeah, that got caught doing this. So they're all on something, but the big pharmaceutical companies are so protected, and you that you can't blame it on them. Definitely can't blame it on SSRIs.
What about, you remember Minority Report?
Yes, great film. Great film.
Precogs look into the future. Yes. Someone's doing a violent act. They arrest them for pre-crime. And so what if somebody got on the radar and we were allowed to arrest temporarily to then profile to see if this person was accumulating weapons in their house, and writing diaries or whatever, discover those, not even using precogs to do it, but just information that people share on the internet.
I'll explain it to people. So for those that don't know, there's this film, Minority Report. Minority Report. It's in the future. It's a great sci-fi film with Tom Cruise from probably early 2000s. The police force basically had these super medicated like sages that could see into the future and basically say this person is going to commit this crime. They're going to murder their wife, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do that. So Tom Cruise was a police officer. He would go pick them up and they would interview him, and they'd find out, oh my gosh, this person is going to murder their wife. They already have it planned out. Here's all the evidence, and we stop it before it happens. And then, of course, the system gets abused. And then Tom Cruise is in a situation where they're like, hey, you're gonna kill somebody, so we're gonna take you out. And then he's running away from the police and trying to avoid them seeing into the future. But great film. Go watch it. So if you can see into the future and you can see somebody's going to do something wrong, are we allowed to stop them?
Stop it before they do.
Do you stop it before it happens? If somebody has the manifesto, they have the bullets, they have the gun, what do you do?
Yeah. You can use sort of like Bayesian strategy on assembling someone who is at a certain risk profile. So you build what, they're on these drugs, they behave this way, they say these things, they listen to this music, they play these games. And if somebody matches enough of that criteria, bring them in for an interview and talk to them and see what's really going on at home.
For sure.
Have AI do that. That'd be great.
AI do it. Yeah, if insurance companies can make your profile and assume risk factors to you so they can charge you more, why can't they do that with people who are buying guns?
Use technology.
Buying weapons. Man, it's a tough one. Stupid comparison of what, Joe? I don't, you're not in the room. I can't tell what you're saying. Cordial says Middle East, prime example of what it would be like if we let the government take over. Yeah.
It would become that. They would be emboldened and tyranny would follow for sure.
Jerry says people are trying to solve one issue, shootings in schools, when it's a broad issue. If put metal detectors in a large number of police in schools, it would move elsewhere to churches, malls, anywhere a large congregation is meeting. Yeah. And you put that actually can bring us to the fair, right? So the schools, these bitch shooters know that there is no weapons allowed in schools. So they're going there. That is their targets for a reason. They know it's going to be tiny people that aren't going to fight back, and they're going to have a shooting range, as awful as that is. So then you move to the fair, right? The fair this year has declared, hey, open carry. We know there's been gun violence in the past, open carry. And we are living a local science project right now as we speak. It's a little experiment. We'll see if there's anything that happens at the fair this year. And it'll remain quiet. If it's a success, nobody's going to talk about it. But they'll do it in the future because the past 2 years, there has been stuff going on in the parking lot with pew-pews. So
now, do you think
take notes, people?
If you're a family and you're like, well, I'm not really going to the Canfield Fair this year. Remember what happened last year kind of thing. Now, if you hear the news that there are going to be people around you that have protective measures with them,
I think that'll scare some people off. And I
so?
think others
more will scare them.
No. I mean, I think leftward leaning folks will be like, there's even more pew-pews at the fair now. I'm not going to go to the fair at all.
Okay.
And then the right wing people will be like, hey, I'm gonna go to the fair because there's more people who have guns.
I'm gonna strap on my bazooka because my brothers are going to be
walking
there.
around with ARs. But I do think that will scare people off just because history proves that it will. Brian says gun laws are great in theory, but those firearm laws only work for those willing to abide by them. Who stops the criminals from attaining using firearms to hurt, kill people who are unable to protect themselves? Yeah, like we talked about, you need a neutral third party that's not going to take a side. And how do you do that in today's day and age? You know, what's the difference? Joseph says, what's the difference between having an AR-15 and owning an atomic bomb? More people die with the atomic bomb. What do you mean? You can blow up an entire city with an atomic bomb? And there's nuclear fallout that kills even more people.
And the components of the bomb are highly illegal, dangerous.
Right. Just says all the what if, LOL. Open up the mental institutions and regulate automatic firearms again. It's not really that hard. It is that hard, Joseph. I really think it is, because just like we learned in the Roni back during 2020, you take away freedoms from people and you take away power from people and you give it to the government, and it's very, 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 very hard to get it back. I mean, you weren't allowed to talk about it on YouTube or they would deplatform you. They were deplatforming doctors from social media that spoke ill of the decision-making of the government. And hey, maybe we should try these other things. Deplatformed, lose all your money. You're not allowed on social media anymore because the people were so scared and they took advantage. 100% they took advantage. I'm not disagreeing with the science. I'm disagreeing with the way it was handled.
Hey, have you ever shot an automatic weapon?
I guess
by the way,
am disagreeing with this. No.
All right, it's terrible. No one who prioritizes accuracy would ever switch to that mode to begin with. Even this Minnesota kid, he stated in his journaling that would be the worst decision that he can make is put automatic fire on, because he wanted mass casualties. And once you start spraying, pew-pew output, you lose all of your accuracy.
Yeah.
And so the argument for the automatic part is the bad part. I really don't see it as being, not only because, if you take that away, there's 5,000 other ways.
People view you're just going to spray. You're just going to go into a massive amount of people and spray. And I get that. But you just regulate it. You just make, if that's the case and you want that, you have to get a license. You have to be tested. You have to go through these barriers so that it makes it tougher. And then the way bad people they're going to have to do something super illegal in order to get it. It's just, it shouldn't be that easy. You can still by making it tougher, it will lower the casualties. And the far right folks who say, no, you can't do anything. It's not going to, the only way to stop it is more people with the good people with guns. Like, I get that. I respect that. But at the same time, you made it harder for people and it had a tougher barrier to entry. It statistically should lower the numbers.
Okay.
Like
but then defend against drugs. We highly regulate. We made it illegal. Talk to
Right.
somebody about how difficult it is that once it's illegal on the street, that you can't get heroin right now. You can't get opium. You can't get fentanyl. You can't get
Right.
marijuana. It just changes hands. The black market then for those things
Right.
that you want to buy that you have in your closet right now.
Yeah, no, I see it. It would if you made it illegal, or if you made it legal, if you made all drugs legal, I think up front there would definitely be a massive amount of overdoses and a massive amount of people who shouldn't be trying it and killing themselves. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And it would take time for it to become more regulated and be healthier and safer, which I think it would, but
yeah, and they've been combating it your entire lifetime is the war on drugs. Have they made a dent in it? Have they have they done a good job? I mean, so it feels good to say we're going to war on drug and make it illegal, and that way nobody's going to die of drug overdoses.
Yeah. No, I see it. It's tough, man. It's very tough. Brian says, then all the special interest groups would cry invasion of privacy and government overreach. Yet those people are the ones screaming for gun control laws. There is no perfect solution. There's not. There really isn't. Open carry outside of buildings. I was there Wednesday, and almost every building had no firearm signs on them. So you can walk the midway, but you can't go into buildings.
Yep.
Interesting. Which is what they're trying to stop, is they're trying to stop the parking lot violence, basically.
Yeah.
You know? Automatic firearms are illegal already, semi-automatic or not. And pistols are semi-automatic. So where does it end? Yeah, exactly. It is already illegal. Yeah.
And I could mod a semi-auto to be automatic in 2 seconds. Like, I wouldn't take a lot.
Right. You have armed military in the streets today. Yeah, I know you're trying to say Trump. I get it. I get it, dude. I know the direction you're going. You hate Trump. We get it. You take away all the guns and it'll turn into mass stabbings. I think you take away all the guns. There's already so many guns in the United States that there's no way to stop gun violence.
Million more guns than there are people in the United States. Yeah.
That's why we'll never get invaded.
No,
we will never get invaded. If Canada tried to start a fight with us, and it's like, hey, we're gonna invade you down there. We're gonna come on down and we're gonna steal all your stuff, and like. I don't think our people would overwhelm their army.
Pearl Harbor. I think there was a Japanese general. Did you ever hear that quote about blades of grass?
I heard the one about him saying that they screwed up when they bombed Pearl Harbor because they missed the boats. They missed the warships. So
the strategy of bombing the naval station in Hawaii, the general said, we can't combat the United States because they have a gun behind every blade of grass.
Hell yeah.
God bless
America.
America.
God bless America. He also said after Pearl Harbor, one of the generals was like, oh, we screwed up. We're so dead because their aircraft carriers were out. Our aircraft carriers were out to sea, and they were trying to hit kamikaze our aircraft carriers, and they didn't hit them. And he's like, we're so fucked. We're so
oopsie
dead. Oopsie. They are going to murk us. And you're goddamn right we did. You're goddamn right. The Canadian Army has tanks and bombs. I don't believe they'd have trouble with a neighbor with his handgun. So no, you say we have illegal automatic weapons. They would have to. It's like at some point, the United States is massive. Like they don't have a tank for every house. They're going to run up to people's houses and they're going to get shot down.
Yeah.
Like they don't have enough. You're not thinking the scale of the United States. There's more guns than there are people.
Yeah. I mean, what? Read
about the Mounties are going to come to your doorstep. Like
read about them. The Revolutionary War and how outgunned and how the military professionals were decimated by farmers with muskets and pitchforks.
Right.
Because we had sheer numbers.
Yeah. And we, in the American Revolution, they were trying to like get us to like do the old school way of fighting where you like line up
Traditional?
in a line,
Nope.
line up in a line and like, hey, meet us on the battlefield. And we're like, screw you, dude. We're not meeting you on the battlefield. Guerrilla warfare.
Yes.
We literally invented guerrilla warfare. We're going to hang out in the trees. And when you come to our house, we're going to drop, like, we're going to shoot you as you're walking up our driveway. We're not going to stand in a battlefield and go toe to toe with you. You're crazy. We invented guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
Like, or I'm sure it was there before, but
We mastered it.
we called it when and they were trying to come get us. It's like, yeah, come get us. We're not going to fight you in a field. You're crazy.
Nope.
Someone stabbed 11 people in Walmart in Michigan in July. Yeah, I mean,
If people want to do harm, they're going to find a way to do harm.
right, 100%. Jerry says Trump's move in D.C. has now made Newsom, you mean governor of California, bring up the California Guard to help. Guess he didn't feel he needed National Guard, but it forced him to now bring up the states.
Did you hear Karen Bass yesterday? Did you hear a quote from Karen Bass, the mayor of D.C.?
No.
Thanked Trump
Really?
for the National Guard.
The other thing that was interesting, I saw the Canadian prime minister backpedaling when they were interviewing him and they were grilling him about how, hey, you kneeled down to Trump's laws with tariffs, and he's like, we have no choice. Like, they consume so much more. We have to, like, nobody is getting a good deal here, and he's like getting grilled and he's backpedaling. I'm like, that's interesting because the left hates him, but he did negotiate with Canada, and they totally bent the knee.
How you like that, eh?
Yeah. We are killing ourselves. So in the hypothetical citizens versus Canadian Army, they could just stand on the sidelines. Who would stand on the sidelines, TJ? I'm confused.
I think he's talking about these mass murderers that do school shootings, and so they just let us destroy ourselves rather than having to invade us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. Brian says the Viet Cong were far outmatched and outmanned. How did that go? Yeah, they had a tunnel system that nobody knew about, and they had booby traps everywhere. Exactly. And they didn't even have the technology that we have today, you know? Mm-hmm. You consider pulling gun violence statistics for other developed country versus the U.S. for this discussion? Sure, TJ. The problem is our system was built differently than other countries throughout the planet, and that's why we're the MF and greatest.
Yes,
is because of our founding fathers and how they set up our system.
Yeah, if we had a dictator or tyrant, you could
right.
solve a lot of the problems just by sheer will. But we don't want that.
And yeah, you can pull Japan statistics. Yeah, you can go ahead. They have a system that is set up without guns. Yes. Much more, like we talked about earlier, much more of a conforming society. But that's just not how our system was set up. And I don't think you're going to be able to take all of guns away, and Americans are going to be okay with it because it's been a part of our system since the very beginning. And the first thing that dictators do when they become a dictatorship is they go door to door and they take all the people's guns. It's the first thing Hitler did. First thing he did. Because if you're going to abuse your people, you don't want them to rise up.
Yep.
Joseph says, if we're so great, why do you hate your government?
I love my country, not my government.
I love my government. It's not that I hate my government. It's that I don't trust them.
I hate them.
And I feel like they take advantage and they need less responsibilities. I think the government is corrupt, and I think both sides will agree to that. I think term limits are important for all national government officials. I think local government is obviously way better than the national government. I think term limits for all national government officials and people who are voted in, and I think you stop them from investing in the stock market so they can't make money and become millionaires overnight just by getting their position.
I need to get you to hate government more.
I hate. I wouldn't. Hate is a very strong word.
Yeah.
Very strong. I don't hate just about anybody.
So give me the qualities that make them above the hatreds. What is endearing? Why are you willing to give benefit?
I don't hate them because I would never want to do that job.
Okay.
I would never. I think it takes a special kind of a person to do that because you're up on a pedestal and no matter what you do, people are going to get mad at you. I disagree with a lot of what they do. A ton, almost all of it. And they're so inefficient. It's amazing, honestly. But I don't hate them.
Okay. I'll get you to hit him by year's end.
Okay. TJ says, so there's no better way than to watch children get murdered. See, that's not we've said nobody wants that. Nobody in America wants that. And your team is telling you that the people on the other team just want to see kids get murdered and they refuse to take guns. That's not the case at all. Nobody wants to see kids get murdered. Everybody loves children. It's our most important thing. It's our future. Nobody wants to see that, man. I promise. Japan, South Korea, China also has CCTV everywhere, and their citizens are under constant surveillance.
That's the way to do it.
Social credit system.
Yes.
Social credit system.
If you want to end these, give in to your tyrant. He's a nice tyrant.
Right. They have a social credit system. You want to get your license? Well, you spoke up against the government in the past. So sorry, you're not allowed to drive.
Should have done better.
Yeah.
Should have known better.
Social credit system it's a slippery slope. Brian McCaddy. So what's your perfect solution to all this? Dude, I don't even know. I think you start with mental health and you go from there. In the medication, you see what these people are on. I am not medicated for anxiety. I know people in my life are, but my most important thing is exercise and don't eat like a slob. If you strain yourself, I think there are statistics and there are studies that are coming out that say, like, if you strain yourself daily and you exercise for 30 minutes a day and you get a sweat going and I take out all my aggression and most of my anger in the gym, that will drastically reduce your stress and your anxiety more so than any pill will. So I think that's awesome. And that's what I do. And it helps me tremendously. And I'm not the average person. I know everybody goes through life differently and some people need medication. I'm not saying those are bad people, but I think some of these cocktails of drugs are just scary, man. Scary.
Yeah, but I think the overall tolerance for loss.
Somebody just said term limits take your life away or take your rights away. That is not true. It takes the rights of the officials away that are abusing the system.
Yes.
If anybody on either side of the stupid two-party system says that term limits are bad, those people are dumb. Because they just want to keep their power and they're trying to convince you that it's a good thing when it's not. It's not. Nancy Pelosi has been in there forever and she's acquired millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars from a job that only pays her $167,000 a year. You completely eliminate that corruption, and there's plenty of other people from both sides of the aisle by eliminating or by putting in term limits. And that's not a left or a right thing. That is a people thing, and that needs to change. I think 85% of the population agrees with that.
Yeah. So the tolerance is for casualties. So like if you read statistics about car crashes and you find out that 1 million people a year die from car crashes, when does it get absurd and you take objection to it? Right? When someone gets in a car crash and then you see the dangers that happens to you, all of a sudden it becomes number one priority. Right, it's that whole a single death is a tragedy,
out of sight, out of mind type deal.
Lots of deaths are just a statistic.
Yeah. No, and I do understand, like, if, knock on wood, my goodness, if it were to happen like locally and somebody were to come rip through a school a lot of people locally would be like, okay, enough.
Exactly.
And in that situation, it's comparable to COVID, where all this stuff it's on your doorstep and you're scared and you're like, no, government, here, take it.
Take my guns. Take everybody's guns right now.
Everybody's guns right now, because this impacted my life greatly. But you can't, it's hard to say it, but you can't get scared. You have to logically try and understand the situation and not give up your freedoms. But whew, I don't know, man. It takes me right away from voting for someone I feel is doing a good job. It takes my right away from voting for someone I feel is doing a good job. I think, and I guess I've heard the argument too. So you say if somebody's in there doing a good job, who was it? Teddy? Was it Teddy Roosevelt? FDR? Who was in there for 4 terms?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look it up.
That's why they put the presidential. They put term limits on the president. Who was it? I think it was FDR. Yes, got it.
Boom.
FDR. So FDR, he was in there for 4 terms. Everybody loved him, but after 4 terms, I'm sure not everybody loved him. That never happens in politics. But he was in there for 4 terms, and then it's like, okay. You can see how this man has too much power. If it was a bad person in there and he was able to manipulate the system and to keep getting him in over and over and over, like these career politicians do, because they're in California. Nancy Pelosi's in California, and she'll never get voted out because they will never vote for a Republican in a 2-party system. It creates abuse. So even if you get another Dem in there, it's somebody different, and they might not be able to get corrupted as easy as Nancy is, or whoever on either side of the aisle. You get a flow of people, and the powers that be can't get their claws into them, and even if they do, it's not for long because they're out again.
Yeah, you wouldn't invest a ton into that person.
No,
they could be gone next.
They could be gone next term, or they're going to be out soon. How about Trump making billions off of his position? Man, you guys. You leftward leaning people who are so obsessed with Trump, it's funny. It's really funny. I mean, making billions off of his businesses and stuff. I don't think he kept the paycheck from the government, right? So yeah, I mean, but
it's interesting because when you do public service, you don't want anybody to get financial gain from putting their whatever investment into public service. So equally is if somebody used their position to, like, let's just say he funneled everything to a hotel that he owned. Right. So he enriched himself. Right. And that's equally as blight as somebody investing in the stock market on a regulation that they put in place.
They know a law is coming that's going to greatly promote or greatly benefit big oil, so they just invest a poop ton of money in big oil, and then next month they make a gain of 100%. That's what they do over and over and over. And I think they, like the Clintons too, the same thing as Trump. Like they go speak at an event and they get paid $2 million to speak in an event. What do you think that $2 million is going? Like they all do it. It's not just Trump. Like I get what you're trying to say. He's using his presidency to make money off of all of his hotels and stuff. Yeah, I get that. I totally get it. And is it wrong? Yeah. They all do it. Yeah.
So when you're in public service, barring you from anything business wise, financial wise, or whatever for that short 1 term that you're only allowed to serve.
So what do you want to just completely shut him down? He's not allowed to work, not allowed to make profit at all.
And that would limit the people who are just pursuing it for the financial gains. And you would have someone like made it in the real world and they want to lend whatever they've got into the government and they're in and they're out and done.
So they get in. Like I'd be fine with if you paid national politicians in there, like you pay them $500K annual salary. I think they're only making like 167 now or something like that. You pay them $500K annually, but you're not allowed to make any money in anything else at all.
Mm-hmm.
What stops them from just being like Nancy Pelosi says, my husband's really good at investing in the stock market? Like, oh, that's interesting. Or you just get, nothing's going to stop that. And like the other thing too is they're just going to find ways around it, which sucks. But I still think limiting it wouldn't be bad. But like they'll be like, oh, I'm Nancy, I'm an artist now, and I painted this stick figure, and Big Oil bought it for $2 billion because it's so good. I'm an artist.
That's true.
That's totally going to happen too, you know?
So I guess, long and short, either you want it overtly while you're leveraging your position, or covertly where you're buying stick figures for $2 billion. Which would you rather?
Joe, I'm not saying it's right because Trump does it. Dude, have you been listening to anything I'm saying here, buddy? Stop. Turn off the news. Turn off CNN and go outside and get some air. Touch, as the kids would say, touch some grass.
Touch it.
I promise. I don't even watch the news. I just hear like from what people are talking about, and then I go Google it and look. Like, I don't even watch the news. So I know that's coming next, that I love Trump. So
yeah, would you read that on Fox News?
Yeah, would you read that on CNN? Fox News, you freaking Trumper, you redhead wearing
right leaning.
It's Nazi. If you're right leaning, you're a Nazi, dude.
You're both. You're both a Nazi.
Oh, there it is. I called it before he even typed it. Typical right wing drither. I don't even know what a drither is. You trying to say drifter? Is that what you're trying to say?
Drither.
Pelosi is bad. Trump is good. Yes, you are. There it is. Love it. Hey, Joseph, I will send you my. I just literally just got done with just talked on a podcast about how there should be more gun laws, and you're telling me I'm right wing drifter. I'll send you my. After this, I will send you my political stance. I took like 3 different tests, and it tells you where you stand on the political spectrum. 0 to 100, I'm a 52. So, I mean, I am right down the middle. And they didn't ask me in the poll. So 52 is 100 is right-wing Nazi. 0 is left-wing communist Mao. So I'm right in the middle. And they did, in the test I took, didn't ask me a lot of questions about the government's role in regulating big business, and I totally would have shifted left if they would have asked me that, but they didn't. If the shoe fits, wear it. You can't hide it. Literally, just it's another day. I get called a right-wing Nazi. Tomorrow I'll get called a snowflake. It's all part of the fun game of giving my opinion.
Yep.
Joe, you can think whatever you want, buddy. That's all right. I just think you should maybe go outside and maybe spend some time out in nature. I think that'll help. And that's a pretty left-wing way of thinking too.
Now, people like Joe and people who are entrenched in their tribalism, anybody who doesn't believe like they do,
by the balls,
whatever,
bro. Yeah.
like, could that lead sort of like could it lead to mental illness? Could you get so entrenched and so devoid of paying attention to truth or whatever perspective that it could lead to mental maybe that's part of it. Maybe our tribalism is leading to a lot of our mental illness.
TDs. Carter says TDs, dude. It's TDs.
Trump deranged syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
TDS, baby. TDS.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're so, like we talked about at the beginning, the rhetoric. If you keep telling people over and over, and both sides like to do it. Trump likes to do it. You repeat the same thing, like crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary. I'm doing this for you, Joseph, because I know you say I never am against Trump. Crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary. He makes all these names and he repeats it over and over so that his clan can repeat it and get it in their head that
Hillary's crooked.
Hillary's crooked. And then what's so interesting to me is the left then took it because they saw Trump doing it. And I don't think the lower level people, but like the news stations took it, and they just, and the party itself keeps spewing the Nazi thing over and over now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not on our team, you're a Nazi. If you're not on our team, you're a Nazi. It's like, You don't even know what a Nazi is. The definition of the Nazi party, the original, let's Google it real quick. The original name of the Nazi party. Huh. Founded in 1920. Can anybody guess what the original name for the Nazis was? What Hitler was able to get everybody together and think the same way using he was very good at marketing and very good at public speaking and getting everybody rounded up and thinking the same way, uniting Germany under this nationalist thing that the Americans are, the left-wing Americans now say that's Trump and he's using nationalism to get everybody together and do bad things. Founded in 1920 under the National Socialist German Workers' Party. That sounds pretty left-wing, if you ask me, because he used the idea of, don't worry, everyone. The government will take care of you. The government's on your side. We're going to make Germany awesome, and we'll take care of you. We're going to be one big happy family. Big socialist happy family. And what happened? It turned into a dictatorship. So just you're calling the right Nazis. They don't want the government to have more power. Unless it comes to like drugs and certain things. But I think less government power is the least likely to slip into dictatorship. But,
to end up there. But I mean, it's a fair argument that even them mentioning marching the military into DC, you would have to complete that thought and say they're marching in there to take over and have like a national rule over it versus cleaning up the streets and ending crime. And
I don't agree. We'll talk, Joseph, for you, buddy. We'll talk about DC and then moving in. I don't think the National Guard should be in DC. I don't think the National Guard should be in DC. I don't think Trump is right by saying we should send the National Guard to Chicago and all these places that disagree. I don't think that's right. You're welcome, Joseph.
Well, you can defend against your state being infiltrated by the National Guard if you follow your laws and don't create sanctuary cities where you tolerate crime and make it inhospitable for the people who live there and pay taxes. That's how you avoid it.
No, so you know how New York has that guy that's like super communist that's going to be a mayor. And now it's interesting that like both parties are trying to stop this guy from getting the mayor position, which he'll probably win in November because of how left-wing New York is. I think if the people want that, if the people voted, especially at a local level like a city, if the people are voting for a communist, put him in there and let New York City be a giant science experiment. Dude, the dude is literally going to take money out of the people and put like grocery store, like use it to fund grocery stores in New York City. Let it burn to the ground. Let New York City burn to the ground and let it be a little, hey, we tried this and it didn't work.
But all of those people are then going to go to other states to avoid, and they're going to do mass exodus of population.
If the people voted for it, I don't like the idea that now the left and the right are coming together to combat this one dude because the people voted for him. Yeah. Like you guys created this by having the two-party system, and nobody feels like the government in New York is doing the right thing, so they're going to try something completely different. Let it burn to the ground when this guy evaporates all of the money and taxes people to high heaven and everybody leaves. Maybe then they'll learn that communism doesn't work. Let it go. Let it burn to the ground, man. New York City will be great under communist rule. It'll be fantastic.
They got me rooting for Cuomo.
Let New York City prove why communism has never worked and it always turns into a dictatorship. Let's just let it happen. We'll learn. Can y'all talk about how AI and data centers are draining the energy we consume, and the electric companies are passing the costs of demand to the citizens and not the corporations themselves. Demand to the system. I don't know enough about that, dude.
I can lend into this a little bit.
I don't know at all. That is not my topic of expertise.
So what they're doing is a lot of these AI companies are actually bringing their own power. They're creating their own power plants for what AI is going to need.
Okay.
So for instance, like Tennessee, XAI opened up a data center.
Okay.
The city could not afford or did not have enough power to sell to this data center.
Yeah.
Right. So they made an agreement that this extra business to that, it was a small city in Tennessee. It's not big.
Yeah.
Big. But anyway, infrastructure, they were going to grow up their power creation for the data center that it was going to host. And they were giving them a runway of maybe 2 years to do it. Well, XAI, they end up putting 20 some generators around the plant, and they were using liquid natural gas and gasoline or whatever fuels they're using and generate their own power until the city could catch up.
Okay.
So I think the byproduct is, because we need power so much, it's going to force cities, if they want the business from the AI developers, they're going to increase the infrastructure to be able to supply more power, which means nuclear might, have a resurgence. What, you're not a big fan of nuclear?
I want nuclear.
Okay.
I just think that it'll never happen because big oil will never let it happen, because the other energy
necessity, baby, they need it.
It's too good.
Mm-hmm.
It's too good. But I hope nuclear makes a giant resurgence and it solves all of our energy issues, because I think it will.
If you get
But
private
they'll never
companies,
let that happen.
if you get private companies developing energy to satisfy their own needs, I think us in the public side of things, we benefit from the extra energy that's being created. But so the original question was how data centers are draining the energy. I don't quite understand what draining, meaning that they're paying for what they're consuming, but they are using a lot more. So it could be straining the power grid. So I don't know enough about that part.
So Carter says, tell that to the residents of DC that murdered and carjacking down over 80% saved the lives over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, but like you're now setting a precedent for a president to be able to send in the National Guard in the future to crack down on crime. Just got to be careful, man. Just got to be careful. And is he going to send it to other cities? Like, I think it should be handled within the city by the city leaders, and the government can send resources to help, but the city is ultimately in control, because I just don't want it to be abused in the future. And like, the government disagrees with the gays in Youngstown, Ohio, so we're sending in the National Guard. Like, that's
all right. So
it's a slippery slope. And in any situation, I just am gonna be careful.
Let me give you a what if then. Okay, so let's just say DC, he was totally allowed to do that. It's under federal. Basically, federal government is allowed to rule the 10 square miles around the White House. Okay, so that one was the model. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna clean up the streets,
because it's DC. Technically,
because it's not a state. Yes. And so they set the model of what they're going to do, how they're going to clean up, and here's the byproduct. Right after, you had Karen Bass say, thank you for helping us deal with this problem. So if you had a fear that they were going to come over and take over, watch them as now they came in, they cleaned it up, and they left. Now Maryland says, oh, we need your help. So the state then sees that they did a good job. They didn't do what everybody said they were going to do as far as stay around and take over the city. And now they're like, hey, this is a government service. We didn't keep up with our own stuff. We need a little bit of help. We now invite you in. And now you got states going the other direction. Instead of the federal government imposing that on them, states are begging the federal government help to clean up their cities because of the net gain from it.
Right. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, no, that's what the communist in New York City, I'm sure when things get out of hand and he ruins it, he's just going to blame it on the national government and say they should come in and help me.
And I would say, listen, you make this move, you're off the reservation.
Yeah.
You know,
But no, the communists would be all about that. I'm all for strong national government, right? Like the government should be in charge of everything. The government should do everything for us. Like, no, the cities should elect a new leader, and a new leader should change things up and I don't even know. Maybe ask, like you said, it has to come from, in that scenario, the cities themselves should have the power, and the national government shouldn't be able to come in and take over, because they can just do that over and over. And in the future, they will be able to say, hey, we did this in the past, we'll do it again. And then that time they might not give it back.
Right. All right. So what if we went full tribal and we just started segregating the different ideologies and giving everybody their space to do it? So if you're communist, you're going to go to a city that bills themselves as a communist city, and you can go live there. Over here, we got the capitalist deal, and they go over here and they do their thing.
Right.
And then we have lots of little laboratories to be able to compare those ideologies. Don't let either one of them affect one another.
Right.
You know what I mean? But give them free reign. Even California, the suggestion that we split California into 2 states, let all the Republicans go to the north and all the liberals go to the south.
But that's not how America works. America, and it's so funny, but like California is a perfect example. The massive exodus from California because taxes are so high, and then they all ran to Texas, and now Texas is becoming more liberal. But it's like, how do you guys not learn? How do you guys not learn? Like, you're here because it didn't work there.
Mm-hmm. Are you suggesting the melting pot might be wrong and people bring things in that aren't great?
No, I think the melting pot is great, and I think the melting pot is the correct way to do it.
Why? Defend that, because across the board, if you take a culture from another area that's different and you bring that to the new culture, shouldn't it be a betterment of that culture? Like if I want to bring child sacrifice, is that a melting pot issue that I should bring in?
No. I think within reason, obviously.
Like, give me your reason.
We have our rules and laws in place.
Okay.
Like you can't kill people. You can't do child sacrifice.
Well, so what about melting pot? What advantages can you bring into a culture that make it better? Like you live in Ohio and you're like, hey, California people are going to move to Ohio. What good things would you be excited about? And what things would you be like, no, I don't want that in my melting pot at all?
No. I think my favorite thing about all cultures is food. I think food and the way they do things in like lifestyles.
Okay, so food, I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah. Music's
good.
awesome, but like you have to assimilate to a certain degree.
Okay.
Obviously, like everybody has to agree we're all speaking the same language so that we can communicate properly. And like I don't care if you speak a different language at home. Like I have my brother-in-law, he's from Venezuela, and my sister's kids, they can all speak Spanish too. Like that's really cool. I've had some absolutely awesome food that I've never had in my life. Venezuelan food, that rules. Like I think the melting pot is cool, but we all have to agree, bare bones. We have to agree on the structure of the house. Okay? You're coming here, we're agreeing on the structure. Like, I know Rogan brings it up on his podcast all the time when people move to Texas. Like, hey, listen, we got this way, and this is a cool area because of the groundwork that has laid before you. If you start changing all kinds of shit, it's going to throw everything off, and it's going to go back to California. He did so himself. He moved to Texas. He respects the Texas way, and he does things their way to an extent. But like bringing new creative ideas from a variety of different cultures is a good thing, though, ultimately, I believe. But you can't like, you're not going to change everything to total like Middle East
women's in burqas.
Yeah, no, of course not. Like, no.
But some of those ideologies are destructive, and that's why people are fleeing in the first place.
Of course.
But do you really think everybody can agree which ones are destructive and not? So stealing from another person should probably be a tenet that we don't want you to bring. We don't want crime to be brought.
No.
What is socialism but stealing from other people, but done through, government means? Yeah, but I think
it's always going to be a battle back and forth of politically of the direction we're going, either more socialist or more laissez-faire, but they're hands off. Todd says that's called gentrification.
Yeah, and I'm not an opponent of gentrification. There's some, areas.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like if in Youngstown, like downtown, not a lot going on downtown. But if you made downtown dope, whether you used all different kinds of different cultural, you kept Youngstown, statistically, it's minority driven. So there's only 40% white people, 40% blacks, and then a mix of everybody else. You kept those statistics exactly the same. Okay. And you made Youngstown sweet, and there's all kinds of stuff to do. No matter how hard you try, gentrification is still going to happen. You're still going to push people out because taxes are still going to go up because demand is going to go up.
I think what they're talking about, if let's just say you came from China and you came to the border and you just wanted to live here like you do China. So you have a city block of people who came from China and you make little China in your area.
I mean, that happened in New York City. They
rather
have
than
bomb-ass food.
Assimilating into an area and taking on all of the attributes of where you're moving into.
I don't think that sounds lame. Like why like having a Chinatown or whatever in New York City, like that's dope.
Well, you're picturing all the good points. The barrier between it. What if you were Chinese mafia? So you run your little deal and you sell your drugs and you exploit and whatever because you got away with it in China.
That's illegal and we should stop that from happening. But like I don't think telling, hey, everybody, you have to come here and you have to be straight up white. You have to be a white American. You have to have because where do you draw the line? Like, okay, I'm Italian. My family has spaghetti dinners on Sunday. Is that not allowed anymore? Like where do you
That's what I'm saying. Like
but only white cultures are allowed. That's the dumbest thing ever. Like I think you have the structure. You're not allowed to murder people. You can believe in whatever God you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. And like I think it's dumb to try and tell people they have to assimilate to what an Italian or an Irish guy lives their life because they've been here longer.
It'd have to be, like you said, the standard of if somebody comes here from the Amazon, and they have no culture whatsoever, you would have to say what they add and they can bring with them because it doesn't conflict with our principles and morals.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you're going to merge into this and you got to become this deal and elevate yourself to our laws and clean up your behaviors so that it doesn't conflict with the people who already live here.
Yeah. My mom and dad, they didn't take me with them on this one, but they went to Nigeria for a mission trip through the school. My mom was a nursing professor at YSU. They did a mission trip to Nigeria to help people like bring medicine and stuff. Just help people. It was really cool. Very proud of them for doing that. They also did it to Mexico, and I went with them, like very, very poor areas. But Dad said in Africa, in Nigeria, the thing that stood out the most to him was like he would have like a watch on. And he said that like people would walk up to him from like these tribesmen, whatever, and they'd be like, "Hey, I like your watch." And he's like, "Thanks." They're like, "Give me that watch." And he's like, "No, it's my watch." He's like, No, just give it to me." He's like, "No, it's my watch." Like you wouldn't. It's different, very different culturally. Like, "Hey, no, can I have it?" No, no, but can I see it? Can I have it? No. Like, what are you? And then like there were no like in America and in West what would it be? Yeah, Western cultures, like we wait in line. We know to wait in line. They didn't wait in line. It's like just a mob. Like they had to teach them how, hey, we're going to wait in line and everybody's going to take their turn. Like they would just mosh the. Very different. Very different.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there's like cultural norms that we just take for granted that we don't understand, that we've never lived without. But it's like that is the structure, of our society that needs to stay. That's good. But I don't want to tell people that they can't Like, it's only human nature. If you move into an area, you want to live with people who are similar to you and live a similar lifestyle. And if the Asians want to have, that was racist. The Chinese want to have little China. The Hungarians want to live together. And like, that goes both ways though, too, because if the Italians want to live together, let the freaking Italians live together. If the Hungarians want to live together, but don't go so far left that no, the white man isn't allowed to live together. The white people aren't allowed to live together. They need to do what the other people are like. Just, it's only natural for people from the same way of life and walking, like grew up the same way, to want to live by each other. I'm not trying to tell people what they can and can't do. And I don't think the government should be telling people where they can and can't live and who they can and can't live by.
Self-segregation rather than forced segregation.
It's so stupid. Yeah. And I think people will just naturally mix. And I think the best thing that people can do is get friends from different walks of life and sit down and have a meal with them and get out of your comfort zone and try and understand them. Don't just hate because you don't understand their way of life. Try and understand it, Melting pot is assimilating. Yeah, because we'll all, over time, our kids and our kids' kids, it's all going to become the same thing over time. You might live with the Italians for now, but then over time, it's going to just all going to mesh together. Todd said, what you just said contradicts what you said about California's moving to Texas and turning Texas into California Junior. No, I think the structure. I think the structure is what's most important. Like, you can move there and you can think a certain way, but like, I guess you're right to an extent, but I don't know. I just don't like the government telling people what to do. And I don't think that's the government. I think that's just people who live there were telling them, hey, you moved here from California. This is the way we do things. If you don't, I'm not going to force you to do it, but just keep that in mind. Work smart, not hard. Italians want Youngstown back. Jeez, oh man.
Did you see Julius when he was talking about the mafia and the positive contributions? Because that is always a really interesting perspective. Usually when you talk about mafia, it's usually on the downside and whatever. Yeah. And making the argument that when the mafia did it, at least X, Y, Z, it was an interesting camera.
The Italians love that. Isn't that right, Luca? The Italians love saying that. Youngstown was way better when the mafia was running things. But they were still gangsters. They still murdered my great uncle because he lost money in their rigged casino. So they strapped a freaking concrete block to his ankles and threw him in the Mahoning River. I had a great uncle Casino, just disappeared. He's like, I'm gonna go boycott the casino in Youngstown, or the gambling den in Youngstown, and they just got rid of him. So yeah, they were still criminals. Like, okay, they were more organized. Not exactly a high bar to set to beat what's going on in Youngstown right now, but they were still criminals. Yeah, it was better, but it still came with card. Yeah. They also freaking did the old Youngstown tune-up and were blowing up cars, and kids were dying because the kids would go in and start the car and they'd blow up children. So yeah, it might have been a little better, but they were still criminal organizations. Don't whack me, please.
I'll keep an eye over your right shoulder.
No table games in Youngstown. I don't go to the casino. The house always wins on the one-armed bandit. Yeah. I don't know what he was playing. It was my great grandmother, R.I.P. Grandma Campolito. She lived to be 100. She was babysitting me in the 90s when I was just growing up. And her brother, great uncle Casino, taken out, murked.
Oh, this is a true story. You just weren't making...
No, I'm dead serious. Dead serious.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's Benny. I think Ben Campolito or Casino. His name literally might have been Casino. Yeah, you can look up the article. Like, I'm dead serious. You can Google the article. Yeah, a great uncle casino got taken out. He went and in Youngstown, they had like a gambling den, and he said they cheated me out of my money, and he was like holding up a sign, picketing outside, and they took him out.
Whoa.
Yeah, they literally killed him. So yeah, I hear that all the time from the Italians. Like, oh, they were great. Yeah, the mafia still killed my great uncle. They were still criminals. Great. I think it's two greats. Great grandma, great uncle. Yeah, man. But hey, we did an hour and a half today. I appreciate everybody for watching. Even what was his name? Scroll up. I think he said he went fishing.
Joseph.
Talk to you later. I'm going fishing. Good for you, Joseph. I'm happy you're getting outside.
Touching grass,
buddy. Touching water. But thank you all so much for watching. We appreciate you being here. Youngstown Talk Channel Tuesday. Well, you guys go. You and Kellen have been killing it during the week too, and we're not here. But we are here every morning, 9 a.m. We appreciate you for being here. Youngstown Studio, downtown Youngstown. If you need to start a podcast, you want to do your own thing, you want to come on the show or start a show, talk about whatever you want, talk about how the MLO bros have no idea what they're talking about, or how Joe has no idea what he's talking about, you can do that. If you want, MLO bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. We are loan officers. We are real estate agents. If you need help buying a house, selling your house, you need help with financing, whatever, we will happily help you. I'll come out. I'll talk to you. We can talk about all the stuff I talked about today, and we can get your house listed or whatever you want to do. Just give me a call. My number is 330-921-8978. That's my cell phone. So call me. But appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for being here. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on